this woman, they're looking at the camera, are they not? All right? They're looking straight at the camera. Where is the child looking at? He ain't looking at the camera, is he?
Little children don't use them if you tell them to look at the camera.
All right. Good point. Let's go over here. Mother, father, son, daughter. Where are they looking at? They're looking at the camera. The father's looking at the camera. The mother's looking at the camera. The baby girl is looking at the camera.
The little boy's looking down
No, he's looking at the camera. They're all looking that way where the camera
in the
is.
same direction.
But look where this girl is looking at.
She's looking down or something.
No, she's looking crossways. She's not looking at the camera. You gotta
That's
look.
the one that's look different.
What expression is on her face?
No. Can't see it really.
Okay, let me see. Pull it down a little bit closer. Remember, whenever you take a portrait, the guy that's taking the cameraman isn't always alone.
Oh, she's not a little person.
No, this is
She's
the
a
oldest
big
daughter.
girl. Yeah, she's a big girl.
She's a big girl. She's the oldest daughter. This is the baby girl.
Yeah.
That's the baby boy. But look at the oldest daughter. Now she's at that age where she's a young maiden. All right? Okay, she's at that age. She's not a baby. She's a young girl.
Yeah, she's a girl.
Maybe 14 at the most.
Yeah.
All right. Why does she look suspicious? Look at the expression on her face.
Well, maybe she just didn't want to be in that picture.
No. Look at her face real close.
She's looking in the opposite direction.
She's looking over here.
She's looking
The camera's there.
And
She's looking this way.
Yeah, she's looking at maybe something over there is going on.
Yeah, no, it's something going on, all right. Now, this picture was taken in around 1912. What was happening around that time? What was happening? 1912.
1912.
Well, yeah, that era.
Coming out of a war.
We had the Second World War hadn't started yet. That was 1914. But in think of the turn of the century. Say 1900. All right. In fact, I believe that's the actual year on this picture. 1900. World War II hadn't started. It's the turn of the century. We've defeated the Native American. The white man has defeated the Native Americans. All right. They had put them on reservations.
There's a lot of movement then.
There's a lot of movement, all right? But there was a lot of raping going on.
Yeah, a lot of movement.
Okay? There was a lot of families broken up.
Separated, yeah.
Okay? There were a lot of maidens taken from their families.
Is that a military something?
That's a Navy, early Navy uniform, yes. Okay? He is a Pamunkey Indian of the Powhatan Nation. All right? He's not from Africa. That's his wife. They're not from Africa. But they're definitely not Mongoloid. They're on the East Coast. Those are East Coast Indians up in New Hampshire. All right?
She looks like she's from India.
She's not. She's from here. Those are Powhatan Native Indians of the Powhatan Nation.
That little girl looks so serious.
Okay? This little girl.
She looks like she's looking.
Yes, she's looking over here.
She's looking at something else. And they're all looking over there, and she's distracted.
She's distracted, and she looks disturbed. She looks disturbed. You have to train your eye to go back to 1900. Look at the eyes of the person in the subject, and you kind of have to reach a little bit, but if you actually step back a second and think about what was happening at that time, what would a 14-year-old girl have to be suspicious about in the year 1900?
She was there with her father, though.
She's with her father. She's with her father. Yes, she's with her father. but she still doesn't trust who her father trusts. They're not smiling.
None of them are, it's
No.
like they're being forced to take a picture.
Thank you. Very good. Very
Are you
good.
happy to take it?
Very good. There you go.
Threw
There you
them up
go.
and said, y'all gonna take a picture, whether
There
you
you
like
go.
it or not.
Whether you like it or not. Okay? Oppression.
Yeah.
Oppression. Oppression. With oppression comes subjugation, forced activities. A lot of black, Negroid, Native American women were raped at the turn of the century. A lot of that went on. A lot of it went on. They didn't, no matter how much the person taking the picture, the photographer, the cameraman is saying, okay, I want y'all to look over here, smile. What does she do?
She's looking in the other direction.
She knows that there's some sneaky snake over here.
Smiling.
There's some sneaky snake over here that she doesn't trust. What you see in her face is distrust, suspicion, disturbance. When you take, you've taken a few psychology classes when you go through college, so I know the basic fears, the basic attitudes, that you can pretty much see in a person's facial expressions. That's obvious. That's obvious.
They just don't look like they're happy. They look like somebody told them, come on and get this picture taken. So they begrudgingly, they went on out there and take the picture.
This is 65 years before the civil rights. Now, we know how bad the 60s were, right? Mm-hmm. We had to fight just to have the right to sit in a lunch counter. What do you think they had to go through? Much worse. Much, much worse. Okay.
They probably didn't even want to sit at a lunch counter.
They didn't even have lunch counters in 1900. Okay. So
they had cafeterias.
Yeah,
they just didn't go to them.
Right.
They didn't have the money to go nowhere.
When the father left the house to go to work, the children were completely vulnerable. Completely vulnerable.
The parents probably made them stay inside.
They better. But they knew that there was an old sneaky snake slipping around somewhere, waiting for an opportunity to rape that girl. You remember in the movie Roots when George Stanford Brown was a blacksmith?
I didn't.
You didn't get to watch the movie?
I don't like those kind of movies.
I don't either, but I bet that.
I never watch them. I don't like those kind of movies.
Okay, well in the movie Roots, George Stanford Brown was married to a beautiful black woman. She was an Indian woman. And Doug McClure came into the stable where the blacksmith worked, and waited for his wife to come in looking for him. When his wife came in, he hid in the back. Well, he had told the blacksmith to go somewhere and do something while he waited in the back. When the wife came in looking for the blacksmith, he jumped out and was going to rape her. And then George Stanford Brown came back early and saw him trying to rape his wife, and then he killed her. And then he had to leave the plantation. Well, you had that going on during this time. Okay, you had that going on plenty of time. So when you start looking at go back in time. If this was the year 1900 and you're 14 years old, your father's there, what will scare you? It ain't Sasquatch. It ain't a tiger. It ain't a gorilla that got escaped from the zoo. What would scare you and make you real suspicious where you don't even want to smile to take a picture? It's usually the same predator. The same predator that you and all black women have been afraid of since 1492. The same predator. He's never changed. The same predator that she's afraid of was the same predator that bothered, that scared our women when they were coming up in the 60s, 50s, 40s, 60s, whatever. The same predator. It's always the same predator. One more thing I want to make is that just for the record's sake, there is a difference between the Native, this is Native American history. There is a difference between the Native Americans that were on the plantation and the Negroes that came over on the boats on the plantation. There is a physical profile difference. The profile, all right? The hair length. The facial construction. Body frame. You can look at these people here and tell that they're not the same as these people here. These are Native Americans, these are Negroes. The Native Americans were here. The Negroid Native Americans were here. The Negroes weren't here. They came over on the ships. They have shorter, stocky, robust bodies. They have short hair. This is an excellent picture because they don't have the do-rags on. So you can't say that, well, they didn't have a do-rags on. Just because they have do-rags on doesn't mean that they have short hair. Yes, it does. Here's a picture of them. These are not the same as these people. These people have long hair. Long hair, long hair. If I can find another. Long hair. Her hair is just pulled back. Their body frames are straight up. Now, I have another picture. I think I printed that picture off today of a. I think I printed a picture off today of a Native American woman, older woman. Now, these are not absolutes. You will find some Native American women that have shorter, robust bodies, but it's not absolute. That doesn't mean that every one of them is going to have that body frame, but in general, the body frames are usually the same. Here we go, right here. This is a senior, 80-year-old Native American woman. Has had several children. She doesn't, even though she's had several children, and she's in her 80s now, she doesn't have the body frame of a Negro that came off a slave ship. Y'all do not have the same body frame. Body frame is very, very important. Look at all these women's body frames and look at these women's body frames. It's not the same. She's the daughter of this Blackfoot chief. She's the daughter of a Blackfoot chief. But because they programmed us to just look at the color of the skin, we didn't look at the body frame. We didn't look at the length of the hair. We didn't look at the facial features. They don't have the facial features that these people have. Even in this picture, that's really not a good picture. But I got to find some more pictures of Native Americans that were put in slavery. Native Americans, black Negroid Native Americans were put in slavery right alongside the Negroes that came over on the slave ship. But there is clearly a difference. Clearly a difference. And this woman does not have the same profile as these women. All of them have basically the same type of facial structure as these young ladies. It's not saying one is better than the other, but there is a difference. There is a difference. She has an Indian facial frame. They have a Negro facial frame. It's not long and slim. These women don't have the narrow bridge nose. All right? The men don't have beards. These men have beards. Facial hair. So, there we go. I knew it was shut down. Well, I made it all. I got most of it on there. So,